Now that we've gotten some of the theory under our belts, it's important for us to look at what impact do relationships make on our well-being. Because if you're trying to make a case for why people should make relationships an important factor when they're looking at how they structure an organization or an education, oftentimes you want to be able to use the science to support the impact that relationships make, not just talking to them about attachment theory or equity theory. Here's what some of the research tells us about social support and happiness. In one study, Hallowell and Putnam looked at studies of over 100,000 participants across 49 countries and found that trust and reciprocal social ties were significantly related to happiness and life satisfaction, both directly and through their positive impact on health and well-being. Many studies have showed us that social support affects our happiness level. In another study of 40,605 Americans between 1972 and 2000 found that married people are actually significantly happier than people who were separated, divorced, or never married. Obviously, there's many reasons for that, but you can see that this happens for both men and for women, and that this is correlation, not necessarily causation, because we could say that divorce is such a cause of dissatisfaction with one's life. But we know that when we feel supported, when we feel connected to people, our happiness is impacted. Another great research study led to the writing of the book, The Longevity Project. Howard Freeman, who still keeps tabs on the remaining few who are still alive, analyzed a massive amount of data and established that amongst these 1,500 individuals, those who were still alive, compared to those who had died prematurely, had strong, lasting, quality friendships in their life, and showed us that having friendships was one of the highest positive correlations with happiness. That when you compare the most happy people and the least happy people to one another, not the people in the middle, but the people who are most and least happy, the only thing that we seem to be able to tell is the difference between these two groups is the quality of their relationships. We also know that loneliness, even if there's a moderate level of loneliness, puts people at risk for clinical depression and suicidal ideation, elevated blood pressure, increased stress hormone, and even a weakened immune system. That loneliness is defined as a feeling of disconnect, and according to House Landis and Uberson, chronic isolation has been found to be as high as a risk factor for morbidity and mortality as cigarette smoking. That chronically feeling disconnected from people is as bad for our health as lighting up and smoking multiple cigarettes a day. We also know that satisfying social relationships is one of the key differentiators between very happy people and very unhappy people. And that when we feel disconnected, it affects our mood, it affects our happiness level because we're wired to be connected creatures. Research has also shown that there's a bidirectional relationship between relationships and well-being. According to Dr. Sonia Lubomirsky, there's a causal relationship between relationships and happiness, that we know that having high-quality connections lead us to feel happier, and that when we're happier, we actually are caused to have better high-quality connections. So I'm curious for you to consider for yourself. What are some of your happiest memories? And when you recall some of your happiest memories, what role did relationships play in those moments? Conversely, you can say, recalling some of your saddest and most traumatic memories, what role did relationships play there? And usually what we'll find is that relationships are essential to what made us the most happy or the most sad in those moments.